Hello everyone and welcome back to the Game Gear-a-thon with Sonic Chaos, which, fun fact, actually has the exact same title music as Sonic 2 on the Game Gear, only in a higher key. This game is known as Sonic and Tails in Japan, and for a good reason, because once we go into the character select, we can choose between Sonic and Tails. I'm going to be playing as Sonic the entire game though, and I'll go into why in a few moments. Either way, as you saw, the plotline of this game is still pretty simple. Robotnik took the red Chaos Emerald, and he wants to get the others, so we need to get them first. And starting off, the game controls pretty similarly to Sonic 1 and 2, although Sonic's sprite is much bigger. But we actually do have the Sonic 2 Spin Dash now, as well as the Sonic CD Super Peel Out. The way you activate them is by pressing the jump button, combined with either up or down. There's also a few new power-ups this time around, like these rocket boots. Break the box, and you start flying in that given direction. You can actually vertically ascend or descend as you wish. And this is useful because in this game, something we want to do in almost every stage we can is get 100 rings. Not only because it gives us an extra life, but because that's how we get to the special stages in this game. And we need the special stages to get the Chaos Emeralds because they're not in the levels anymore, which is something I admittedly do kind of miss, but I'm not going to complain too much about it. A lot of the stages in this game are actually really short. In fact, I'll say for a fact, I think this is probably the shortest Game Gear Sonic game, aside from maybe Sonic 2. Either way, get 100 rings and you're teleported into the special stages. And when you actually, well, first off, the way this special stage works is that you have to hit the rocket boots, and then just consistently fly right. You want to stick around the middle, because that's where the Chaos Emerald will eventually be. The big rings, by the way, are worth 10. The thing is about special stages in this game, though, is that accessing one, whether or not you complete it, skips the stage you're in. So we were in Turquoise Hill Act 1, but for beating this, we're going to be in Turquoise Hill Act 2. Which kind of makes the game seem really short in comparison. In fact, I think we go over half the game in this part alone. So, yeah. Either way, Chaos Emerald is around right after these little up and down vertical rings because, well, there it is right there. However, like Sonic 1 and 2 on the Game Gear, even though Sonic 2 was out by this point, we still only have 6 Chaos Emeralds. Also, the points count up really slowly in this game, even if you do hold down the A button. Well, A button. I think it's technically the 2 button. And with that, we're sent right into Turquoise Hill Act 2, which, yeah, this place is just Green Hill. I'll be honest, a lot of the stages in this game you really get to skip over just due to the special stages alone. Though the special stages are actually why I'm playing as Sonic. The thing is, Tails, his exclusive ability is that he can fly by pressing up and the jump button. It's a very short and very slow flight, but you can do it. However, Tails doesn't get any special stages. In fact, he gets the good ending by default. Though it doesn't really do much. So, that's the main reason I'm playing as Sonic. If you want to play as Tails, go ahead. I actually think he's a pretty interesting little addition, albeit a bit meh in comparison to Sonic. Something that Sonic Chaos does similarly to Sonic 1 and 2 on Game Gear, even though we're probably not going to be seeing this until possibly next part even, is the end of stage signpost can actually show up as a few different things. First and foremost, there's the blank panel, which I think is actually the rarest. And that's basically, you get nothing, try again kind of thing, so you get to spin it again. After that is the flicky, which means you get nothing. A ring panel, which gives 10 rings to you at the end of the stage tally, which I don't think is dependent on the amount of rings like it was in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Game Gear. And then there are the Sonic and Tails panels. What they do is dependent entirely on which character you're playing as. A Sonic panel will give an extra life to Sonic, a Tails panel will give an extra life to Tails. So basically, if you get the respective character, you get an extra life. However, if you get the opposite, you get a continue. So, Sonic panel gives Tails a continue, Tails panel gives Sonic a continue. So that's all fine and dandy. Though, due to the fact that if you're good at the game, or at least know what you're doing, you will be spending almost the first half of the game in special stages, that's a lot of continues and lives you can miss out on, and signposts in general. Though, I think, like the previous Sonic games on Game Gear, you get a certain amount of lives or continues for a certain amount of score. Anyway, Turquoise Hill, I've been neglecting to talk to it about it for like 5 minutes now, is, as I said before, basically Green Hill, and I mean that. It's pretty fine in difficulty. In fact, I'll say for a fact, the entire Sonic Chaos game is very easy. There isn't really anything that should really kill you in this zone. Either way, Special Stage 2 is different. In fact, every special stage in this game is basically unique. The way this one works is that you're climbing up a gigantic vertical area, and you have to get to the top right in order to find the Chaos Emerald. There are two paths you can go. The left, which leads to a lot more rings, and the right, which gets you there a lot more directly. By the way, this stopwatch one only appears in special stages, and it stops the timer, because you actually are in special stages for a limited time. You have 50 seconds, roughly. And that's how you get the Chaos Emerald. That thing I was jumping on towards the end there, though, is a spring shoe item that only shows up in a select few stages. Basically, you land on it, Sonic starts jumping around really high, and if you jump off at the very peak of it, you can actually get some really good air. I actually really like that item, I just wish they used it a bit more often. Oh well. And now for Act 3. Act 3 is a bit odd in Sonic Chaos. It's closer to Sonic 1 on the Game Gear than it is to Sonic 2 because it's shorter, but there are things that can kill you very easily, but you actually get rings this time around, which is a very big help. Mind you, you don't need rings for this first boss, which is basically a giant moto bug with a spring on it. Spin dash into it 3 times, or 4 times, 5, and it's dead. That's it. The bosses in this game are nothing short of pathetically easy, honestly. I can't tell, though, if that's just due to the way they're designed or the fact that you actually have rings, though. And that's how fast it goes when you speed up the button. I should have been doing that the entire time, but oh well. And now we're on to Gigalopolis Zone, which, fun fact, in the Master System version is called Gigalopolis Zone because it's based off the Japanese text. And Gigalopolis is also a very easy zone, honestly. There's a few more enemies around here and a few more hazards, but I don't recall there being many, if any, bottomless pits you can fall into. The unique gimmick to this area, and one later on off the top of my head, is that you saw a bit of a bridge though on the top of the screen. You're going to be seeing another one momentarily. It's basically a little slanted bridge. And the way those work is that you can only run on them when you're going a certain speed. If you stop on them, you fall off. It's very similar to some stuff from certain other games I'm forgetting the name of off the top of my head. Either way, there it is at the top of the screen. I want to go up there actually because there's a good amount of rings up there so I can get the special stage. Now, one weird difference from the Master System version to the Game Gear version, I'm not sure if this is region exclusive as well, is that Act 3 removes a lot of rings on Game Gear, and I don't know why. Either way, on to Special Stage number 3, which is probably the easiest one in the game. Why? You're constant... Well, actually, no, technically speaking, the easiest one is the first one, because if you just hold right, you should never lose. The way this one works is that we got the tubes back from Scrambled Egg Zone, obviously. And we want to go along this loop for about 5 times until we reach the edge, in which case we want to hold up, I believe. The only really hard special stage, now that I think about it, is actually the next one, so getting the Chaos Emeralds in this game shouldn't be that big of an issue. Though, admittedly, most stages don't have... Well, first off, hold up now. That's how you get the Emerald. Admittedly, a lot of the stages only just have barely above 100 rings, aside from a select, like, 3 or 4. So if you get hit, it is very possible you can screw yourself out of a special stage. But honestly, the fact that this game has a much better screen resolution for Sonic means you shouldn't be getting hit as often, at least by blindsiding things. If you're just being reckless, that's another thing entirely. Gigalopolis Act 2, by the way, is nothing really troublesome. In fact, I think this place is even easier to get rings because there's a giant chain of them on the top of the level if you know how to get to them. I know I'm missing a good amount of level just by going through the special stages, but honestly, I think if you go through the special stages, some of the stages end up being a bit longer, because some of the stages in this game are just really short, and that could be an issue, yeah, but I'm not sure if it's just my mind playing tricks on me about that, or if it's because I have the spin dash and peel out that just makes it feel faster. I think Sonic's a bit faster in general in this game. I'm not sure if that's my mind playing tricks on me, though. Either way, while I'm on the way to the next special stage, although I'm about to get it in 3, 2, 1... There are actually some cheat codes for Sonic Chaos, but I'm going to go over those in a minute, because this is the hardest special stage in the game. You want to spin dash to the right, ignore the rocket boots on top, and then just keep on going right. This is the only one that's very easy to miss. Because, honestly, this special stage, its time limit is a bit strict. And if you don't know to, like, jump up here, then jump over here so you can get another pair of rocket boots fairly quickly, you could potentially lose this one. I forget what happens if you lose special stages, though. Either you move on to the next one, or you have to do this one over again and over again until you get it. Screw this wall, by the way. If you don't know, you can stand on the springs, because just trying to get on those little points in between the springs is kind of annoying. The only real advice I can give you coming up is don't go all the way right. Hang over to the left here and grab these rocket boots because you're not going to make it otherwise. Because if you head right, not only do you waste time, but you also can't jump up to that Chaos Emerald because it's on too high of a platform. But that's the hardest special stage in the game out of the way. Admittedly, I do like the idea of special stages making you able to skip stages in general, because I think that actually might make the game faster in general for speedruns. I don't know what the speedrun time is for this, or even what the run looks like. I should look that up later. So admittedly, if anything, this is actually a really good game just to speed through. Either way, we're coming up on the Gigalopolis zone box, or Gigalopolis. Oh, that word's weird. And it's basically a giant caterpillar. His weakness is his head, and as you saw, I killed him really quickly. He does shoot balls out at different altitudes, depending on where his head is, and that's the hard part to dodge. And I think even in the Japanese version, he shot out a spike ball as he died, so... that boss can potentially be dangerous, but apparently I killed him really quickly. And with that, we're on to Zone 3. Sleeping Egg Zone, which sounds like it should be a final zone, but it's not. It's not. Although I really do like this zone. In fact, it's really good for rings. Not the best stage in the game for rings. That's I think that's the next zone, but it's still really good for it. As for Sleeping Egg on the whole, though, it's yet again very easy. There's at least in the paths I usually take, there's also very few enemies. The main gimmick to this area, though, is that there's a lot of blocks that you can break, and you can't tell you're gonna break them until you either jump into them or spin dash into them. Though I like the very wide open layout of this one. For some reason, I really like that. But Sleeping Egg, not very hard. Though Act 1 is not very good for getting a special stage. I'll tell you that for a fact, because I think there's just over or just under 100 rings, so if you screw up once, you're not going to be able to get it. Plus, that requires you to go up and down and all around in a very complicated route that's just not worth it. So, this is the first stage. I'm just going to go right to the goal sign. Mind you, like I said before, a lot of the stages in this game are short because you can complete most of them in just over a minute or just under a minute in-game time. And that's my time bonus. For some reason, it shows it as kilometers an hour, which it's actually 1 digit bigger than it says it is, because that's actually 749,000. Or not, no, 7,490, which is weird. Either way, we're on to Act 2. Now, the interesting thing about Sonic Chaos, I may have mentioned this earlier, but I got sidetracked, I think. Like a lot of the Sonic games back then, this game has cheat codes. There is a sound test which you get to by inputting in the Konami code, except you replace BA start with 1 or 2 on the Master System version, or just go right to start on the Game Gear version at the main title screen. Which, if you do that, there's actually some unused sounds and even some tracks from Sonic 2. And there's even a cheat code you can do at the sound test, which is by pressing down, right, and then 1 or 2, which allows you to throw fireballs for some reason. Either way, now we're on to the final special stage, which is kind of a repeat of one we went to earlier. Way you do it, go all the way right, go all the way up, and then hold down, and then you're good. The one trap about this special stage is that once you get to the final room, there's a spring that'll send you back into these tubes. So the moment you exit the tubes, jump. You'll either jump over the spring, or the spring will hit you, but you'll jump into the wall. But doing that gets you the final Chaos Emerald that you can get through special stages. Obviously, Eggman has the last one, so we need to go after him. Either way, back to the cheat codes. Contrary to a lot of people's beliefs, there is actually a level select code in this game. You need to press up, up, down, 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 right, left, which is yet again pretty much the Konami code in reverse. And then either 1 or 2 on the Master System, or start on the Game Gear. And then you can actually get a free Chaos Emerald at least in the Game Gear version, at the character select screen by pressing up, down, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, which gives you starts you off with a Chaos Emerald, obviously. Which, I find it odd that they did that, but I guess that means there could technically be 7 Chaos Emeralds, unless it does only max out at 5. But that's a thing. Either way, Sleeping Egg Act 3, very short, very easy. And it has one of the easiest bosses in the game if you know a trick. Jump over him, you land on his head, and he cannot hit you at all. He'll try to bounce you off a bit, but this is the most he can do. The way the boss is actually supposed to work is that he'll be jumping left and right, constantly firing those pellets, which are surprisingly hard to dodge, by the way. And you just have to do your best to jump on his head and hit him. But if you know that trick, he is very easy. And with that, we're done with Sleeping Egg Zone, so we're on to the next one. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. And in part 2, we're heading on to Mecha Green Hill Zone. See you guys then.